In March 2015, the Orangeburg District of the South Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church entered into a partnership with the Methodist Church in Ghana to build a 5,800 square foot information, communication, and technology center in the West African nation. 2 years later, this past March, a 4-person installation team from the Orangeburg District, Jim Arant, Jeff Costin, Bobby Gordon, and Danny Shamley, traveled to the village of Abesawa to install the computers for a new state-of-the-art computer lab. They also built shelves, tables, and chairs for the adult and children's library. This trip was the culmination of a project for which the district raised more than $98,000 and received donations of furnishings and supplies valued at $25,000. 84 of the 93 churches in the Orangeburg district supported the project in some way. In 2016, volunteers gave countless hours of service to produce 5 fundraising dinners across the district. Host churches included St. John's in Aiken, St. Paul in St. Matthews, Canaan in Cope, Edisto Fork in Orangeburg, and Beulah in Sandy Run. Why go halfway around the world to build a computer lab? In a word, hope. This facility will give the people of Abesawa a chance to learn about information technology and connect with the world. The libraries will provide opportunity to teach literacy classes in a nation where the illiteracy rate is over 40%, even higher in remote villages such as Abesawa. My eyes were filled with tears when I saw it, Bishop Bediako said. The impact it will have on the people will be very, very tremendous. This project was a testament to the faithfulness of God and the people of the Orangeburg district. It was a way for faithful United Methodists in the Orangeburg district to say, Abesawa, welcome to the world.
The South Carolina United Methodist Conference is getting closer to meeting our pledge of $1 million to Imagine No Malaria, putting our faith into action to end hundreds of thousands of preventable deaths by malaria in Africa. This is part of the United Methodist Church's goal of raising $75 million. The South Carolina Imagine No Malaria campaign has surpassed $705,000 in donations, leaving less than $300,000 to meet our pledge. Please donate now. The mission of the Advanced Special Ministries Network of the South Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church is to see, cultivate, and share a wide range of United Methodist resources to support and strengthen our ministries. We joyfully fulfill Christ's mandate to care for those in need by contributing generously of our time, talents, and resources. This year, we're hoping to add a 16th ministry to our stable of Advanced Special Ministries, the Christian Assistance Bridge. The Christian Assistance Bridge is a service agency in Blythewood that provides hope and support to those in need by offering basic necessities and hands-up assistance, such as utilities, rent, food, medication, transportation, and traveler's aid to residents in Blythewood, Northeast Columbia, and Ridgeway who find themselves in crisis situations. Through a collaborative effort of local churches, individuals, and support organizations, the agency works to strengthen our mission and our faith, as well as the faith of those we serve. By representing Christian values, the agency hopes to grow discipleship through service and obedience to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We're excited that our other 15 ministries will remain in our Advanced Special Ministries Network for 2018. We would also like to remind you that Salkehatchie Summer Service will be celebrating 40 years of service in 2018, dating back to 1978 when a group of 40 United Methodists, mostly between the ages of 14 and 18, left their comfortable pews and stepped into the lives of 4 families affected by some of the worst poverty in America on the Sea Islands of South Carolina. Their legacy continues today, with some 46 camps across South Carolina, welcoming more than 3,000 volunteers for a week of hard work, worship, and fellowship. We know you will join us in celebrating Salkehatchie Summer Service as its volunteers continue to live out Isaiah 6:8. Here I am, send me.
Hello, my name is Ron Turnblad. We're here in the sanctuary of St. Andrew's United Methodist Church in Orangeburg, South Carolina. I wanted to talk to you today about how the Blaine Trust enabled us to significantly expand the capabilities of the audiovisual technology in our sanctuary and church. We began working on this program about 2 years ago. At the time, we were not happy with where our church was going. We wanted to do something different in terms of engaging young people in particular, but also to reach out to our members who weren't able to come into the services on a regular basis. And the first thing we did was identify what kind of objectives we wanted to try to accomplish. And those included upgrading our sound system so that it would be more adequate for our parishioners at the services. We wanted to provide streaming and DVD copies of our services to church members who were either shut in or unable to attend on a regular basis. And we wanted to be able to stream also to a general population around the community that doesn't necessarily have anything affiliated with St. Andrews. The first phase was to put flat screen TVs with internet access and DVD players in our youth room and 3 of our classrooms. This allowed a number of people to begin using curriculum that we've been able to obtain from the Resource Center in Columbia. That initial phase included a totally new sound system, a sound booth to house all of the equipment, and a multimedia system. We began using in August of 2016 that new sound system, the multimedia system, and we began projecting lyrics and parts of the liturgy on flat screens within the sanctuary. The third phase, which was just completed a month ago, was to put in cameras in our sanctuary. We now have 3 HD cameras that we use as part of the projection of the service on the flat screens during the service, but mostly used to capture the services either as a file that we burn to a DVD that we take to shut-ins, or to create a stream that we send out live to the internet of our services each week. The fourth phase of our program, which we have not yet implemented, is to provide digital signage inside the church facility. We had 2 locations we plan to put up digital signage, and then an outside digital sign for communicating to the community as well as our members and visitors information about our church and upcoming activities. The ad hoc committee was informed of the Blaine Trust, and we submitted a grant application, and we were awarded a $30,000 grant, which was a huge blessing for us. We also received a grant from the Orangeburg District Congregational Development Fund of $5,000. So we had $35,000 in grants. Related to this overall program has been engaging a number of persons in this activity that had not previously been involved directly in the audiovisual aspects of our sanctuary. We have recruited and trained 14 people who operate the sound booth, and that includes young people as well as older people. It's a good mix, and it's been very refreshing, and we've been thankful to have been able to include those people in our ministry here. All of these things have cost us money. And we would never have been as far along as we are today without the Blaine Trust.
Good morning, fellow United Methodists. This is Sarah Wilcox, Director of the University of South Carolina's Prevention Research Center in the Arnold School of Public Health. With funding from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the South Carolina Conference of the United Methodist Church formed a partnership with the Prevention Research Center to offer the Faith, Activity, and Nutrition Program, or FAN, to all interested churches in the conference. FAN helps churches create healthier church environments for physical activity and healthy eating. With FAN, church committees learn how to increase opportunities in programs, set guidelines, engage and support their pastor, and share messages related to physical activity and healthy eating. The ultimate goal of FAN is to help church members and clergy become physically healthier so they can more fully participate in church life and spiritual growth. In February, USC trained community health advisors from across the state in how to deliver the FAN program training to churches. This past April and May, 17 community health advisors trained churches in each of the districts. In 21 separate training sessions, 109 church committees from all 12 districts were trained in FAN. At each training, churches received many resources and materials to help them develop plans and put the program into place for their congregations. These churches will continue to receive support and assistance over the next year from the community health advisors and USC. We recognize that not all churches were ready to participate in the FAN program this spring. If you would like more information about FAN or would like to be contacted if future trainings are offered, please stop by the FAN booth here at Annual Conference. Finally, as part of the new Abundant Health Initiative, we are happy to share that USC has been invited to provide training in FAN to conference health coordinators at the Global Ministries United Methodist Church Day of Health in September. We look forward to sharing success stories from South Carolina at this training. Staff from the University of South Carolina expressed their gratitude to Bishop Jonathan Holston and the Reverend Kathy James for their support of the partnership, to the district superintendents for allowing time during clergy meetings to talk about FAN, to the community health advisors who are willing to share their passion and their talents with the districts, to the churches that hosted FAN trainings, and to the pastors and church committees who made a commitment to improving the health of their congregations by taking part in the program.
It's amazing that it's a year from when we had the 1,000-year flood, but we do need to take time to take note that we have a hurricane that seems to be hugging the coastline where it's steering towards South Carolina. So what we did was we declared a state of emergency at 7:30 this morning. We have decided that we will evacuate all coastal communities starting tomorrow.
Well, now to the latest on Hurricane Matthew, which has made landfall in South Carolina. The storm has been downgraded to Category 1 hurricane, but it still remains a major threat.
Well, Hurricane Matthew has arrived here in the low country of South Carolina just in the last couple of hours. The rain blowing sideways, winds gusting over 40 miles an hour. Today was the last day to prep and/or get out.
October 8th, 2016. Hurricane Matthew, a powerful and devastating hurricane, made landfall in South Carolina. Hurricane Matthew brought with it heavy winds and severe flooding in parts of South Carolina, toppling huge trees, destroying property, and flooding whole towns. It's estimated that the storm caused over $64 million of damage. Unfortunately, much of the damage occurred on the back of the 2015 flooding, creating even more need in South Carolina for volunteer teams to carry the load of disaster response. As soon as the storm cleared, our South Carolina United Methodist disaster response teams went to work. In conjunction with UMCOR, the South Carolina Conference distributed over 4,000 cleaning buckets and over 2,000 health kits to survivors of the storm, many of those going to areas in the Low Country like St. Andrew by the Sea United Methodist Church on Hilton Head.
This past October, the Low Country coast was caught completely off guard by Hurricane Matthew. In Bluffton and Hilton Head, we had trees down, electricity out, and many people couldn't get in, even in their homes. We needed hope, and we were incredibly thankful for the hope that came in 2 truckloads of cleaning buckets from UMCOR. The first truckload that came, the buckets were gone within a day. The second truckload that came, they were gone within hours. People were literally taking them as soon as they got off the truck and taking them home. The word had spread, and a word of hope and love and joy and grace from Christ as a result of UMCOR was received by many, and we're very, very thankful at St. Andrew by the Sea.
In addition to UMCOR supplies, early response teams immediately began response in the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew. This included cutting trees off of damaged homes, putting tarps on roofs, cleaning up debris piles so people can have access to their houses, mucking out flooded homes, and also spraying homes for mold. In all, we touched over 185 families and homes in aftermath of Hurricane Matthew.
Shortly after the storm, disaster response teams became aware of a secondary disaster related to Hurricane Matthew: flooding.
Here on Highway 76 in Nichols, the Little PD River continues to rise. Take a look at these homes behind me, flooded with water. And this is just a small taste of what the town of Nichols is experiencing. Yesterday, here on Highway 76, you could see this bridge, but with the water levels rising, you can barely see any of it.
2 days after the hurricane, Nichols, South Carolina and surrounding areas became flooded literally overnight. Residents had no time to prepare for the rising waters, and many found themselves having to be evacuated from their homes by boat.
Water was in every room of my house, in all my closets when I woke up. And all I had opportunity to do was to grab a pair of jeans and some underclothes and my medicine.
It quickly became clear that in order to respond to the catastrophic flooding in Nichols, that the conference was going to have to respond in a new and unique way. The Blitz, as we came to call these disaster work weekends, was an effort to give volunteers a chance to make a huge impact in a community over a short period of time. We knew that people wanted to help, but they weren't sure how, so we created a large event that gave everyone of every skill level a chance to volunteer and to give back and make a difference. The first Nichols Blitz brought in over 230 volunteers, the majority being regular United Methodists with no ERT training who just wanted to help their brothers and sisters recover. As news of the Blitz spread, teams from across the country formed to come to Nichols to help. We had teams from North Carolina, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Ohio, and even Massachusetts. These teams mucked out homes, which meant they took out the drywall, the flooring, even rotted furniture. They basically took the home down to the studs. This was the first and most necessary step. It allowed us to thoroughly dry out the home, and then we can come back and spray for mold, which gets the house ready for the rebuild phase. And the faster we get homes cleaned out and sprayed for mold, the faster we can get people back into their homes, and the less overall damage will occur. In all, over the first 2-day weekend Blitz, United Methodist volunteers mucked out over 18 homes.
I am so full of joy today. I'm telling everybody, thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the bishop and the United Methodist congregation, thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I'm just so full of joy. And with you all here today, the Methodist group, I know God is on my side.
The Blitz was so successful that the disaster response team duplicated the event in the small town of Sellers. Sellers provided a unique challenge. While the homes were damaged by the same floodwaters as Nichols, the homes in Sellers were older and typically in more need of repair. The community had been struggling for a while, and so the homeowners didn't have money for insurance and upkeep and even a place to stay as their homes were getting fixed. So the challenge was that we had to go in and do the muck out to remove the mold, but we also had to leave the home in a way that the homeowner could still live there after we left. Essentially, what we ended up with was a massive 2-day Salkehatchie event in the town of Sellers, where we went in and we did the tear out, but we also had to end up doing some of the rebuild. Again, United Methodists across South Carolina rose to the challenge, and more than 115 volunteers helped to bring healing to the town of Sellers. As recovery efforts began to wind down in the Marion area, we knew there were still needs to be met. A third and final Blitz was scheduled back in Nichols to help with the last of the homes that needed mucked out, and United Methodist volunteers stepped up one last time and got the job done.
In addition to Hurricane Matthew, our early response teams also responded to 6 other disasters, 5 of which was in South Carolina, such as tornadoes throughout the state, including Barnwell County, Orangeburg County, and Greenwood area, and even a tropical storm in our state. We also found ourselves in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, helping them with what was considered their 1,000-year flood in September of this past year. In total, our early response teams touched more than 228 homes and families, helping them cope with disasters and giving them some hope in the aftermath of such tragic events.
Through it all, the South Carolina early response and disaster response teams have been hard at work responding to the storms that have so greatly impacted our state. Through their work, volunteers have been the hands and feet of Christ in the midst of terrible disasters. Though the current relief efforts have passed, we now look forward to the long-term recovery efforts across the state, working to help families get back into their homes and get their lives back to normal.